Julie, amazing. Madison, put yourself on mute, man. Everyone joining in, make sure you keep yourselves on mute this fine evening, fine afternoon. Try to put your cameras on if you can, because I want to see all y'all lovely faces. Hello, guys. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Jade, Kit Kat, I see you. Nick, fantastic. Dean, I see you there. Justin, I see you. Got so many people coming in already.
Hey there, what's going on? Glad to be here.
Yeah, nice to see you. If you can, guys, put your cameras on. That way I can see y'all's faces. That'd be fantastic. I hope everyone's having a great Saturday so far. I know it's only noon, but I'm sure you guys have had a lot to do already. It's a beautiful day. So yeah. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Everyone, drop in the chat where you're from, what state you're joining us from. I want to see. Right now I'm in New York. So Toronto, damn. Philly, of course, Dallas, Texas. Oh my gosh. California, of course. Connecticut, that's my home state. Represent. Bryant, where are you from in Connecticut? Or if you're like there, just what city?
I'm from Danbury, Connecticut.
Oh my gosh. I'm from Stratford, Connecticut. Like I was born there. Oh, in Bridgeport, but
that's sick.
Very nice. Northern Virginia. Damn. Okay. Julie's in South Florida, of course, Chicago. We got people from all over the place. This is exciting. I don't know about you guys, but I actually haven't been to many states outside of like New England, which is kind of sad, not gonna lie. But hopefully one day after I graduate, I can get out there, catch a flight, get to Cali. Never been there. So that's unfortunate.
If you come to Cali, I will be your personal tour guide, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Deal. Now I have to do it. Everyone, when I go out to Cali, everyone's more than welcome to come hang. Foods for the moods. Let's go, Jade. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I see Bobbin's in the waiting room. Get him in here, that king. Where's Bobbin? Is he in here?
Yeah.
Brianna, I see you. There we go. Oh, Lynn, I see you. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Bobbin, you?
Hey.
Hello. Hey, Abby.
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good.
That's awesome. All right, let's keep waiting for a couple more people to join. Courtney, how are you? I see you here. Kevin, let's go. Kevin's here. Who else we got? We got so many people. This is exciting. Dean, got Alan, Kingston. Ooh, we're gonna get started shortly. Just waiting for a couple people to, join. I think Shaylin just came in. Shaylin, I see you. Elsie, hello. Oh my goodness. I was saying before to everyone, drop where you guys are from. So people who are just joining in, make sure you drop where you're from or what state you're joining us from at least. We got a lot of people. We got Virginia, Cali, of course, Houston, Texas. Very nice. We had someone in from Dallas. I'm in New York right now. Of course, Brianna, New York. Philly, of course. Awesome. Oh my gosh. All righty. Well, I think now pretty much everyone. Oh, where's Justine? Did I see her? There she is. Let's go. Ooh, okay. I think everyone's in at this point, or the majority of people are in. So we can start things up, I think. Or wait, we'll let a couple more people in. I see some people waiting. Am I muted? When did I mute?
You're good now.
Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay, we're good. I didn't realize that I was muted. Just how are you guys doing today? Let me know. It's beautiful out. I'm so excited for spring. I hope you guys are too, because my birthday's in the spring, so I'm really pumped about it. Alrighty, so I think the majority of people are in, so we can get things started. All right. So, okay. Welcome everyone. All right, welcome to our A&R panel on this fine Saturday afternoon. Okay, I'm your host. My name's Amanda Lopez, and I'm super excited that y'all are here. It's gonna be a great day, and we're gonna talk about so many things. All right, so we're joined by our fantastic and lovely panelists. We've got Lynn Lenway and Abby B. Okay, everyone give some chef's kisses. All right. We're not doing raising the roof here. I'm coming up with my own. It's the chef's kisses, multiple, okay? Not one, multiple. All right. So these are some of A&R's finest, Lynn and Abby, of course. And y'all better get ready. Have a pen and paper next to you. Or if you prefer to take notes on your computer, make sure you got that up, because you're going to want to write down what they're saying, because they know what they're talking about. Trust me. Okay. So again, like I said, be ready to hear some great knowledgeable stuff. Okay. So we're going to be chatting about, like, what exactly an A&R does, how they search for their talent. And of course, we're going to find out how Lynn and Abby got to be so successful in their careers. All right. So I'm just going to, go over the agenda for this evening. I keep saying evening, but it's the afternoon. So we're going to start off with a little bit of an interview. Okay. And then we're going to move on to the Q&A around like 12:30, 12:35-ish or so. All right. And then, and everyone make sure you prep some questions if you're going to have questions for Lynn and Abby, because you want to make sure you ask those. Don't hesitate. Okay. And then, of course, after that, I'm going to pass the floor over to Kyle for the listening session, which is going to start around like 1-ish. Okay. That's what we're shooting for. All right. So let me just give a quick introduction to our fantastic panelists. Okay, so we have Lynn Lenway, who's a 35-year industry vet. 35 years, you guys heard correctly.
That's right.
That's a lot. So naturally, she's gonna know a lot. Okay, so we're gonna have fantastic information coming through today. Okay, and then we have Abby, who has been in the industry for over a year or so now. And yeah. So you guys are going to hear from two wonderful, lovely people. Okay. And how about we start with Lynn? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've done in your career, and then we'll move on right to Abby. Okay.
Okay. It's been a long one, so I'm going to give you highlights and you can go back and ask questions later.
Perfect.
I started in the fashion business, found out the only thing I actually liked about it was buying clothes and wearing clothes. When I was in college, I became friends with a kid whose family owned the Hit Factory. And after we would go dancing at Studio 54, we would go back to the studio and hang out. And I got to know a bunch of record producers, and they were amazing. So when I was in the fashion industry, I hated it. And I was like, I loved the producers. They spent a lot of time teaching me about boards and what they did. So I was like, I'll get into the music business. This was before people knew there was a real music business. And it was when there were a lot of major labels rather than just 3. So I saw an ad in the paper for just a receptionist and went, I'll do that. And my parents were very upset because I was doing really well in the fashion business. And then moved up quickly, went into A&R. From there, I went into artist management. I worked with the band Kiss. Then I went to Zamba, which I'm getting confused. It was a long time ago.
Don't worry.
Went to Zamba, which is the parent company of Jive Records. I started their producer management company. From there, I actually went to work at the Hit Factory, was the studio manager there for a little bit. Then I went to an artist management company that had an artist management and a producer management arm, and I managed the producers there. Left there, started my own company, began managing producers, that morphed into managing bands, started an independent record label, created a TV show for one of the bands that I was managing. That was on for 2 seasons. Then I went back to the major label system, went back to A&R, went to Sony, and then I went to Universal. So there, that's it.
Wow. Just a quick little recap, you know?
It's been a long time.
That's insane. I mean, yeah, that's a lot. So, wow. Very impressive. All right, Abby, go ahead. You can tell us a little bit about yourself.
I don't know how I'm supposed to come after that. That's a lot of experience right there.
I'm very old. Don't worry about it.
Well, how did I become an A&R? So I started noticing that I wanted to be in the music industry when I started doing events. I started putting ciphers together, and I was just picking talent from like my neighborhood or my city. And then people always used to tell me like, oh, you should be an A&R. And I used to be like, what is that? Like, I have no idea what is an A&R. So I looked it up and I'm like, well, this seems like something I'm already doing on my own, like finding talent, putting spotlight on upcoming talent. So the first thing I did was I tried to get an internship. I got an internship, and then I got hired as a actual A&R 6 months after my internship. And I'm still making my way up right now.
Damn, that is awesome. So fantastic. Are you guys hearing all this? Like, oh my God. That's so inspiring, honestly. Like, you know, I'm sure we have plenty of people in here like who are hoping to, you know, achieve that much success. So of course, we're gonna get right into some questions. So I hope y'all are ready. I got some great ones lined up. Okay. All right. So actually, we're gonna start with Abby. Let's, you know, and then we'll move on to Lynn. You can, you know, chime in here and there. Okay. So why don't you tell us exactly what an A&R is and, you know, the importance of it, and yeah, go ahead. Start.
There's really like 2 different types of A&R, maybe even 3. There's A&R admin, and that's the A&R that does like paperwork only, and it's not really a creative A&R. Like, they're not in the studio with you building and helping you make like hit records. And so I'm more like a creative A&R. So I'm just like building with the artists. I'm putting them in a session with the right producers, right writers that is a good fit for them, and I'm just more on the creative side, and I'm just helping them produce good records. And that's really what an A&R is. And you look for talent.
Of course. Yeah, Lynn, go ahead.
First of all, I want to say excellent to Abby, because I love that you came up that way rather than going, I want to be an A&R person. Because I find that so many people who say they want to do A&R, it's more of a goal to get close to people rather than do a job.
Right.
And the job is not as exciting as it sounds. You know, people that wanting to, you know, I mean, a lot of it's babysitting, a lot of it's psychology, a lot of it's figuring out how to keep people who are fussy creative. It's a lot of trying to make personalities work together, trying to get people to open up, because you know, you're working with, I mean, they're fussy people a lot of times. They're just, you know, they want what they want. They act like children. You do a lot of babysitting. And to get the best, sometimes you're battling an artist who thinks they know what sounds best for them. and you have to talk them into the fact that they could go further working with somebody, you know,
Right.
whether it's a songwriter or a producer. So I find that when people want to get into A&R, the big question to ask is, do you love the job?
Right.
Because you're not going to always love the artist you're working with.
Right.
And if you're really good at doing A&R, you can do it for any genre. You can't, it's not like, oh, I only want to work with, you know, Beyonce, or I only want to work with, you know, the biggest hit makers. You know, people often want to get into it because they strive for reflected glory, and they want to be around people, and they want to tell their friends and their family and have people be impressed with what they're doing and who they're hanging out with. But in a minute and a half, and I'm positive Abby knows this already, all of your friends are in the music business because it's all you do all the time. And your other friends want to go, you know, out drinking or go out to dinner or whatever, and you're called into the studio. And in a minute, the only people who understand you and can put up with your schedule are people in the music business. And they don't care who you're hanging out with because they're doing the same thing. So you have to love the work. And from an A&R standpoint, the music industry used to have a real hierarchy, and A&R was like top ladder. Everybody wanted to be an A&R because the A&R people ran the world. And it was a very, you know, from inside the industry, it was a big glory sort of thing. Well, it's not that anymore. Nowadays, if you actually pay attention to the importance of the roles, digital marketing people rule the world.
Right.
So my thing when people say they want to do A&R is, first of all, what do you think it is? Because I guarantee it's morphed into something else. Nowadays, a lot of times I spend my time sorting through misleading data, because you look at people's streams or you look at their socials and you see these high numbers. And a lot of times it's just kind of being a detective and going through and going, is that really happening? Do they really have an audience, or are these all fake numbers?
Mhm.
And you can find it'll take me about 10 minutes to figure out who's lying. And so the work is actually, it's like I said, it's not as exciting as people think. I remember in the beginning going into the studio, I was like, oh my God, the studio, it's the coolest thing. I tell people I'm in the studio. Ugh. After a while, I was like, oh God, I'm still in the studio.
Yeah.
It becomes less impressive to go to the studio. It's really impressive to people who aren't in the music business, because they're like, oh, you're going to the studio. They don't know what hours, and like, you end up going home and listening to that same take that they couldn't get and had to do 55,000 times. And you wake up and that's in your brain, like, you know, worms boring in. And so make sure you love the work, because that's what you're going to be doing the most. Don't do it because of the people that you think you want to work with, because you're going to hate them.
Gotta have
You
a lot
will.
of patience, a lot of patience, and
I
you
was
just put a lot
literally
of
just gonna
emotions.
say. Yeah, sounds like it takes a lot of patience. So
Yeah.
make sure
I
you,
have a lot of
like Lynn
patience.
said, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. All right. So how about Abby, we start with you again here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your talent scouting like process, and like the most effective ways you've like, you know, found to be when discovering talent?
Okay. I would say my best, let me think. It's probably YouTube.
All right.
It's probably YouTube. Instagram. Yeah, YouTube and
Yeah,
YouTube.
go ahead. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, tell us what you do.
I found my first act on Instagram, and yeah, it went really good. Like, and I just he didn't even have. Okay, so this is a cool story. My first act didn't have any music out at all. Like, I just seen a clip of him singing. It was just like 2 little clips, and I brought him in the office. He released his first song with us, with the label, and it was just all through Instagram. And his first song did like, I want to say 3 million views in like in the first week, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that was through Instagram. All my other artists are like YouTube, word of mouth. When Outside opens up, I will be more at shows and things like that. But for now, definitely YouTube is like my number one go-to.
Wow. Wait, so that's so impressive though. You said you found him on Instagram and he literally had no songs out and you just saw him literally a couple clips of him singing.
Yeah.
And you were like, get your ass in the office now. That's awesome.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Lynn, how about you? Tell us a little bit about your process.
Most of the time it's interesting because pre-pandemic, it was mostly word of mouth. I have a really, I will never, and I always get really annoyed when, now Abby has a different story. She actually did discover this guy, so she can say that. But I tend to never say I discovered somebody, only because I'm usually hearing about it from someone, whether it's a friend or a manager or a lawyer or another person in the industry, whatever it is, somebody's usually been there before I have. There's a lot out there. There's a lot to look at. And I'm very fortunate because I do have after this amount of time, if I didn't have a big network of people, I'd be in trouble. So I usually, unless I'm traveling through some small town and find some weird little music bar and walk in and see somebody's been there before I have. So I don't usually say I discover anybody, but the process is similar. It's like I'll hear about somebody, especially now, hear about something, and then I do a deep dive online because I want to see not just talent is 10%, in my opinion. Talent is 10%. There are tons of people that are incredibly popular who really don't have any talent, but because they have a machine that has created that, and there is studio magic and everything else, you can make people believe there's talent. Talent's 10%. Just watch American Idol. You can see that the most talented people aren't winning. The people who have like a backstory or whatever, and then you never hear from them again anyway. So it's really, to me, about all of the other stuff. And by all of the other stuff, I don't mean I need to see somebody who's got huge socials and anything else. I want to see that they have a work ethic, because there are a lot of incredibly talented people who you can't get out of their bedrooms. And I don't want to find that out down the line because my head's been so turned by their amazing talent that I get that invested and money starts being spent. And then I find out I just didn't ask the right questions. Or, you want to see that there's a track record of them really wanting it, not just wanting to be famous, but actually wanting to do the work that it takes to be an artist. So I often do a deep dive and then make some phone calls and reach out to venues around them to see if they've actually performed someplace. Because, being an artist, it's interesting nowadays. There's a difference to me between somebody who's a musical artist and somebody who's an online artist. And online can be faked, but actually doing that work and being prepared to touring is hard, and it's exhausting. And making sure, there's that old saying that you've got your whole life up to that point to write your first album, but everything after that, you have to have that work ethic. You have to be able to sit down and write. So there's a lot of work for me that goes into investigating the other side of the story. That's not just, are you talented? I guarantee if we gave microphones to everybody here and walked out on the street, you're going to find talent. I've never met a person who doesn't have some kind of incredible and startling talent, whether they use it or not. But that's the whole thing. Do you have all of the other stuff that it takes to have a career?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it sound from what you're saying, it sounds like it's just more than like what a lot of, for example, like the TikTok artists out there, they call themselves TikTok artists and whatnot. This sounds like you look for more than just the songs that they put out on TikTok. They need to have a really strong work ethic. They need to be willing to put in the work. So I hope all y'all artists out there are listening to that. All right. Okay, so moving forward, Lynn, we'll start with you on this question. Do you think, or how do you think the pandemic has affected the way A&R search for talent? Like, for example, not being able to see artists perform live, like, of course, it's affected that.
Here's what's interesting. I think there have been holes in the industry for quite some time. Especially at the major labels. There is an old-fashioned way of doing business just because that's the way it's always been done. I've been railing against that for a very long time. And it's interesting because the pandemic, if you just pay attention, the pandemic has magnified those holes. And I keep laughing because nobody's paying attention. But when we go back, so historically humans have always given up quality for convenience. They just always have. We listen to music on earbuds. I don't care how good your earbuds are, they're not that great. We listen to MP3s, still not that great. I remember when iTunes was doing, mastered for iTunes. Dogs couldn't tell the difference. You'd have to have the most amazing set of I literally sat in a mastering studio and we A/B'd things and cranked up on those speakers. You can hear a slight difference. In earbuds, you can't hear a thing. I'm not kidding you. So the interesting thing now is, and I'm going to say this here, and I challenge all of you young artists to take me up on this, because I think what's going to happen when we get out of this is there's going to be two different types of artists. They're all going to merge in the same thing, but there are artists who perform amazingly on stage, and especially on big stages, but they can't connect through screens. They can't tone it down. And then there are artists who can connect on screens who just don't have the experience or the ability to make it that much bigger for stage yet. I think that that's an easier talent to sort of learn, and I'll use dear friends of mine, and I do not say this to them, not about them. So, you think of Kiss, best stage show you'll ever see, bar none. I don't care what anybody says. I've been to them all. It's like, nobody's got a better stage show. It is fun. It's a party. It's like going to the circus. But you put them on TV and they look like clowns. They don't know how to tone it down. They have, their entire careers have been playing to the back row in arenas and stadiums. So on TV, they look crazy. But I think the interesting thing when we come out of this is people think they're going to rush back to go see live performances and things, but they're going to also want to be super served. And for developing artists, the issue is you have to think from a business standpoint. When the stadiums, when everything reopens, you're going to have all of the tours that were sold out already, that were canceled, rebooked, because those venues want to make their money. And then you're going to have the Beyoncés and the Taylor Swifts that they know they're going to be able to do completely sold out shows being booked into the open dates that they may have left. Then you'll have the other artists who would normally get there, but maybe not sell out completely, who are going to have to find a place to play. They're going to go into the theater levels because they're going to be able to sell out 2, 3, 4 nights there. Now the theaters want to make money, so they are going to book those artists. It's going to trickle all the way down to small venues. And that means there is going to be a big challenge for developing artists to find places to play when this opens up, probably for about 2 years. So I challenge all the young artists to become the first ones who figure out ways not to just do your bedroom strumming that everybody's tired of on YouTube, but find a way to do something interesting to connect with people through your music and online and on screens and on devices. Go out and play in parks, hook up with like botanical gardens and find places, things to do with them. It's going to be an interesting thing coming out of this. And I think it really has magnified the holes in the industry and where developing artists don't really get a lot of support. And the unfortunate thing is, not only are you expected to be amazing at your craft, you're also expected to somehow be marketing geniuses. I think just figure out how to create your space and your personality and your music the way you would in a small venue.
Yeah.
Try and figure out how to do it online, or how to connect with somebody who might have the ability to do something with live music that's not a venue. Like, just think out of the box a little bit.
Yeah. Wow. That was a lot of good information. I hope y'all wrote a bunch of that down. Abby, why don't you build off of that a little bit?
So as far as like you want to know, has it been more difficult to find new artists during this?
Yeah, just like how do you think the pandemic has just like affected the way A&Rs, find their talent and like, or search for it? And because obviously live performances have been an issue, artists haven't been able to do that much. So just I want to get your opinion on that.
So I feel like if you're an A&R that like looks for talent at live shows and stuff, then there's definitely a difference. As far as like finding talent online though, it hasn't really changed anything. I would say the only downfall is you can't feel an artist's energy face to face. Like if you're doing a Zoom meeting, I feel like it's not the same if you had the artist in the room with you and really feel their energy, really get to see their personality. So it's a little weird doing artist meetings through Zoom. Things is getting a little better now, so people are flying out artists in person. But yeah, it's just kind of weird to do stuff like this online and really get to feel an artist's energy and stuff.
Yeah, no, I actually definitely agree with that. I'm a huge like vibes gal, so it's really nice to catch other people's vibes, and it's super hard to do that when you're not like in front of them. So alrighty, so it's about 12:35 almost, so I want to open the floor up to all of our lovely guests. Anybody who has any questions for Lynn or Abby, please use the raise hand feature. Okay, if you raise your hand like on the camera, I might not be able to see you, but yeah, raise your hand using the little raise hand feature, and then I'll definitely call on you. All right, Justin, I saw your hand go up first, so why don't we start with you?
Hey there, what's going on, ladies? Everybody hear me?
Hi,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm in the car, so forgive me. Thank you, Finesse, for doing this. Ladies, you are wonderful. I wanted to ask, what is it like being an A&R as a woman, and then Abby as a Black woman? I love the diversity and the fact that, Lynn, you've been in the game for a long time, so you've seen things change. Abby, you're just coming into it in this new era. So how do you navigate? What are the challenges, the struggles? What are things that kind of work for you? Just kind of talk about that, because bottom line, I believe that women are needed in these type of roles. And so glad to see that you guys are on here expressing those insights.
So I would say the challenges are demanding respect and also gaining trust. Like, if you're working with a lot of male artists, it might be a little difficult sometimes for them to just like trust your opinion, or especially if you can't really relate to like them in a lifestyle type of way. So then it's like, okay, what do you know? Or, it's just like demanding respect. And sometimes it's even demanding respect with other people in the studio. Like you might be in the studio and their friends might come in, or the producer might come in, or a writer, and they thinking you just the homegirl and they just not even acknowledging you. And it's like, hello, like, this is my session. Like, you know, like, so it's like you have to demand respect and stuff like that. Like, I've been in so many situations that somebody will come in and they won't say hi because they think like, oh, she's just here with the artist, or she's one of these guys' girlfriend, or whatever it is. So it's like, as a woman being an A&R in the music industry, you have to move a certain way because you have to demand that respect at all times. And that's pretty much it. And I would say as a woman A&R too, I've noticed, for me, from my experience, a lot of my male artists, they just have a little softer side for you because you are a woman. So sometimes it's even a little easier to deal with them because, you know, like, you're a woman, so it has its pros and cons. Like, they will actually have more of a softer side. They'll probably listen to you before they listen to another guy in the office or whatever.
Right. It's that perspective. It's that perspective.
It works out.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's been my experience too. I mean, when I got into the industry, obviously hookers and blow. So it was a very different industry at the time. And there was a lot of bobbing and weaving going on. You know, I was getting cocktail dresses sent to me, you know, flowers and candy and jewelry, and having to keep returning it. But thankfully the industry has changed a bit. I found that in A&R, it's actually, like, nowadays, it's actually in exactly the same way Abby said. Now, granted, after this much time in the industry, people know who I am. So when I go into a studio, they're going to pay attention. But there is that ability with artists, especially male artists.
Yeah.
They will get more vulnerable with me than they will with a guy. Like, I can talk to them about the emotion behind a song, or, you know, some difficulty that they're having with somebody, and they don't feel like they have to put on a show for me. So there is exactly what Abby said. She's having the same experience that I have, where there is a little more. The interesting thing is, it's tougher in management to be a female, because it's not the artists who don't listen to you, it's all of the people in the rest of the world. So, and that's kind of, you know, at a major label, you still have, because they are so backwards still, there is still a sense of, you know, the good old boys club or whatever. There's not enough diversity. You know, the issue is, especially when you're working at a major label where a lot of the artists are Black, and you look at the marketing department, and the marketing department is very white. And you're going, we're missing that. So you know, thank God for this summer and the Black Lives Matter thing. It's really magnified some issues. And I know that all of the majors have, I mean, Sony completely changed their head of HR and brought in this guy who's amazing. I don't work there, but they brought in this guy who's an amazing talent, and they are really holding people's feet to the fire. Universal, I can't say whether, I got to give them a chance. I can't say whether it's all talk or not. I haven't seen the same sort of, you know, big moves there yet, but, you know, you can't say it's not happening until it doesn't happen. But yeah, I think from a female standpoint, there are pluses and minuses doing A&R. You do, you know, you do get to really get closer to the artist, I think, than a lot of my male counterparts have.
Yeah, definitely. That was awesome, Jason. I hope all that answered your question. All right, how about
Yes,
Charles? How about Charles? I think I saw your hand go up second. So
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you guys hear me? Cool. Okay. This one's for Lynn. So I'm kind of like a Kiss freak a little bit, but not really. So
You can say you are.
yeah, okay, yeah. So like, I'm not like the fanatic though, because like I know like the Kiss Army and everything.
Oh.
I was just gonna ask. You talk about like you learned a lot of things in the studio, like when you were like they were A-Bing stuff and whatnot. I was just gonna ask, from a band like Kiss, you know, they had so many different lineup changes, and obviously like their behavior. What would be one of the most important things for an artist in the studio, like that big, like what to like, what would be like the biggest thing to pay attention to as like an artist being in a big studio like that?
I think
I guess.
It sort of depends. From the standpoint of being a big artist, I think that's a different question rather than being a big artist in the studio is, I think, remember that there's a tendency to think you know everything and that you are, I've been in the studio so many times and I know my music and whatever, and not naming names, but sometimes if you listen to the recordings of any one artist throughout their career, you'll see that there comes a point where either it sounds a little sloppier or it's because they think they can hear it. And I will say to artists who also think that they're producers, and let me just say this, there are two different definitions of producers nowadays. I'm talking about producers who go into the studio with an artist who creates their own music in this case. There is, for those kinds of artists who go in with a producer, if you don't want somebody to touch your music, take somebody who's an engineer. You don't need a producer. If you want somebody to help elevate you and maybe find things that you haven't thought of or that you didn't think you could do, or maybe you've been doing it for so long that, like so many people, it's like, well, this is just the way I do it. You want to maybe try something new, go in with a producer and listen to them. Don't act like you know everything. And that's a tough order, especially when you're the only rock star in the room. It's hard to, when somebody like Paul Stanley talks, he doesn't have to be right. He just has to talk. And oftentimes people just go, well, of course he knows. He's the only rock star. I always laugh at him because he does this thing that drives me crazy and it makes me laugh and it always works. And I wonder why people don't question him, because he'll make some stupid statement and then go, but just my opinion. But what's laced behind that statement is always, and I'm the only rock star in the room. And so I think the challenge for anyone at that level is to always remain open-minded. And I think that becomes tough, because when you have such a history of success, it's hard to bring somebody new in and let go of what has worked for you. And I think that's a challenge for absolutely anybody. I found that for myself, just from a management perspective. I had been managing this young band and then they kind of blew up a bit and got signed to a label. And all of a sudden I had been doing everything. I had been, doing marketing and publicity and promotion. And I was, doing all the outreach before their tours and stuff. And then to hand that over to new people who were just brand new in it was really difficult for me, because I was like, well, they don't know what they're doing. They just got here. And of course they knew what they were doing. They were professionals. But I think that's a challenge for everyone to remember. You may have been doing it, you may be the person, but somebody else may have a better idea. And remembering to be open to better ideas and to collaboration, I think, is the only way to move forward.
Awesome. Everyone else, make sure you keep your mics off. Yeah. All right. Julie, let's go to your question.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. This event was so great. This question is for Lynn, and I'd also love to hear from Abby as well, too. Early on, you spoke about how psychology plays a part in the process in managing artists. Can you expand on that a little bit?
They're fussy. Oftentimes, and Abby's going to speak to this just as well as I can because she is the one who brought it up. So when an artist creates something, and this is completely understandable, when an artist creates something, it's their baby, and nobody wants to hear their baby is ugly. So, but if you just think about it, a lot of times an artist will come to you and they're like, I have 10 songs. I wrote 10 songs. So let's get those out. And it's like, I promise if you wrote 10 songs, even if you're the most amazing songwriter with a string of hits, if all you have are 10 songs for me to choose from, maybe, and I'm being generous, 5 of them will be great. And the rest of them will kind of be throwaways. And you have to be able to approach that. And I will openly say, and like I said, there's something to being as old as I am because people will listen to me a little easier, but I have a problem lying. So I really have to sort of say things and then go backwards. Like, oh, how did that sound when that just came out? Because a lot of times somebody will throw something out there and I'll be like, ugh. But hopefully by that time they know me a little bit. Plus I always come with a caveat, like I'm going to say things, but give me a minute to explain myself. So there's a lot of how do you get somebody to be willing to continue to be creative without saying your baby's ugly. And that is psychology. And it's also, you go in the studio and the producer wants something and the artist is fighting against something. And you kind of have to figure out, is one better for the project? And if that's the case, how do you get the other person to turn around and let that happen? Or are you going to lose the artist completely on that point? And then you have to go to the producer and kind of explain, you're going to have to suck it up. This isn't the best thing, but it's not going to kill the project. So let's go along with it. And then there's band infighting, and then girlfriends or boyfriends, and everybody's got an opinion. And it's, you've got to keep everybody's head in the game. And that's where the psychology comes in. And I throw to Abby because she's going to be able to expand on that.
Yeah. So yeah, everything you said is so true. So telling an artist that you don't like a song is like, it's just so bad. Because one, they could either like not believe your opinion, and then you have to, the whole psychology thing, that basically happened to me one time. So I have this artist, and I think all artists is like that. Every song they make is like, that's the one. And it's like, no, that's not the one. But because you wrote it and you probably wrote it from your personal experience, you really feel like, no, like this is some real, like this is it. Like I'm talking on this, like this is it. So I feel like it's just different ways to say that's not it without just saying like, oh, I don't like that song. So what I would do is I would have a listening session, and I'll bring maybe other A&Rs in the room, and then you can get all their opinion. And then now if you're there and you see that it's 5 people telling you that ain't the song, then you're most likely gonna be like, okay, you know what? Let me double back. Maybe that's not, because now you're getting opinions from not just one person. You're getting opinions from different people. And I feel like that's where the whole psychology and how to say things the right way come in. Like you just got to go about it the right way. Because it's like, who's going to just take one person opinion? Like, it's so much better to like have other people listen, and when they agreeing with what your A&R was saying, now they'll be like, you know what, she was right the whole time. So yeah, but it's really not good to just say, oh, I don't like that song. Like maybe sometimes you can have a song and it just needs some structure, and it just needs a little bit more, and they can actually fix it for the song to be a better song instead of you just saying, oh, that's whack, I don't like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Don't take criticism too personally.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Because you have to know, as an artist, you have to know like everything you do in your eyes is gonna be it. So it's always good to just listen to other people's opinion.
And that actually brings up something else that I think is interesting. Like Abby really touched on something there about making it better. You know, we always have to remember that oftentimes the best songs come from somebody's experience.
Yeah.
But in that same way, just as, you know, you need a therapist for something or whatever it is, a lot of times when you're releasing your experience musically, or, you know, just the same as if you're talking about it, you have some blocks, or you have some places where what you're doing is presenting sort of half of the truth. And in music, you want to hear all of the truth. And sometimes the sticking point between a song being something the artist wanted to get out and a song actually connecting to people is that just that twist for truth. And that's where the psychology comes in, where sometimes it's just sitting with somebody and going, I know what you were trying to say, but it doesn't sound authentic to me. And if you just break it down a little further and a little further, you can go, like, the artist will have a breakthrough and just go, oh yeah, you know, I felt funny talking about the hurt that caused. I wanted to talk about the anger. And so a lot of times a song will come across kind of like where you know that the subject matter is painful, but it sounds like rage. And those two things sometimes don't connect. And if you can get the artist to the place where they're unlocking sort of the pain that caused the rage, just that little twist makes the song connect.
Yeah.
Wow, damn. Okay, so we only have time for like 2 more questions. I know there's so many questions. But yeah, so how about we go to Brianna? Let's hear your question.
Hi, Lynn and Abby. Just want to say thank you so much for coming on, especially shout out to Women's History Month. Ooh, ooh. Anyways, so I'm an artist, and one of my questions, because it seems like it takes a lot of patience and having to do this, like being a one woman team, very interesting. What have been one of the most challenging moments as an A&R, especially just Abby, working with an artist, and how did you overcome that? If you have any examples or an experience.
Okay, I'm gonna let Lynn go first. I had to think about that. He has way more experience. I'll let her go first.
I think the challenges were early on. And, you know, Abby, I know Abby's going to be able to speak to this better than I do because it's probably very fresh for her. Very early on, having people take me seriously. You know, I mean, I literally had an artist sit down with me and go, you know, you're pretty, you know, you got your job. And I'm like, I freaking worked so hard for my job. And to have somebody look at me and just go, you know, you're pretty. I mean, I'm past that now, so I don't have to worry. I'm old. But at the time it was like, you know, I was in my 20s and you can't help what you look like. And to have somebody just be so dismissive because I walked in a room and you know, was having some opinions about, and I wasn't even having an opinion about the music. I was literally talking about the session, and he just went for me. And so, and also, you know, the going into studios in the beginning and having people sort of take seriously that you know how to run a session and that you have the authority of a label behind you. And, you know, so that was the most challenging. And like I said, I mean, and Abby, it gets better. But that was the most challenging thing. Like I said, nowadays it's different because people know who I am. So it doesn't look like, oh, she just got into this to go hang out with rock stars. But that's always the question for women in the beginning. It's just kind of the, oh, you got in because you want to date, or you want to whatever, you like musicians. So that was the most challenging. And now I throw to Abby because she's going to tell you the same story.
So you hit it there when you said like proving yourself. I would say that's probably one of the biggest challenges, is like having people see. For me, I don't feel like I had too many challenges once I became an A&R, but that intern period was definitely a challenge. Like, oh my gosh, because it's like you're an intern and you're like, you have to prove like, yo, I can do this. Like, so you're submitting artists and artists and artists, and it's like at the end of the day, it just all lands on if the label wants this artist. So it's like you're constantly, because if it was just you, then okay, you could sign whoever you want, but you're like doing this for a label. So the challenge for me was just that time period before I became an A&R, is because I had to keep proving myself that I could be an A&R. And then it's like, you only can prove that until you actually bring an artist that they actually want to sign. So imagine if you're going through 100, 200, like, it just always takes one person to really just change like the whole, like, okay, now I can look at you as an A&R. So for me, my challenges was before I became an A&R. Once I became an A&R, I felt like I proved myself very early. So I really didn't have much challenges once I became an A&R.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you both for staying consistent, and shout out to you, Abby, for just staying there and interning and having to pitch that many artists. That's crazy. And then having to go out on that faith. It sounds like somebody betting on you and you betting on somebody else. So
yeah, that's really what it is. You're gonna want to quit. Don't ever quit. Just keep going.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's get some chef's kisses going. All right, one more question. Tyler, I saw you had a question with do you not want to ask it anymore?
No, she literally just answered my question. I was going to ask about her internship, but where was your internship? That's like a real quick question.
Oh, the label?
Yes.
Cinematic.
Okay, cool.
Cinematic Music Group.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so then let's get one quick question in. Lottie, do you want to ask your question?
Yes. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for being here. My question is, what advice do you have for someone who's trying to transition into A&R from the creative side? So I'm someone who's a songwriter, so I spend a lot of time with artists and producers. And so by default, it involves some degree of being able to determine talent. But I want to get more into seeing how I can help like develop that and take that to the next level. So any advice you guys have would be great.
So you want to know like how do you make that transition, or how do you know if that's really what you want to do?
Honestly, either way, either way, it's fine.
Okay, so like Lynn said earlier about how a lot of people just say they want to be A&R. So for me, it literally came to me. Like it came from people telling me I should be an A&R because I didn't know what an A&R was. So in that sense, I feel like it was just meant to happen because it literally just came to me. Like, I don't even know what made me want to do an event. Like, I never, ever said I want to be in the music industry. Like, even when I used to do production assistant work and I was on music video sets, and it still never crossed my mind, like, I want to be in the music industry. So you got to pay attention to what the universe tells you, really. And if you want to like transition, I would say, even like when I got my first internship, I was interning in every department. Like you could be a photographer and I ask you, do you need help? You could be like a PM and I ask you, do you need help? Just so I can see every department and really get to learn like, okay, what is it that fits? Like what feels good for me? Like what fits for me? And if you want to transition, I say like, do research. And it's not just like oh, A&R is just this. Like, it's a lot that comes behind it. So it's like, do research and just do different things. And as you're just trying different things, you're going to see what you'll know. Like, you'll know when you know, like, you're going to feel it. And you're going to feel like this feels right. Like, this feels like what I should be doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And expanding on that, I mean, Abby really touched on something. The best advice I ever got when I got in the music industry was from another woman who said, don't get stuck in one department, do everything.
Everything.
Because so many people get into the business and they literally only know the part that they're in, and they know the other parts of the jobs from how they touch their jobs, but they don't know how to do those jobs. And if you don't know how to do a lot of other jobs and you haven't done a lot of other stuff, you don't know how to manage expectations. You don't know how to manage your own expectations when you ask for something. You don't know how to successfully negotiate to make everybody happy, because you can't understand why someone's asking for something. And what you may see as frivolous is something that's very important to get their job done. So doing everything, I find that a lot of people come into the music industry and they don't really know all the different jobs that are within the music industry and all the different things they can do. So they get kind of locked on, like, the big visible ones that everybody talks about. But a different question that I'd like to ask you is, you say you're a songwriter. Why do you want to get into A&R?
I think for me, it's just like seeing so much independent talent that I want to be able to help foster and just kind of help elevate their careers. Because I feel like as a songwriter, like what I'm able to do in that regard is really limited because it's just on the creative side, but I want to be able to play a role like on the business side as well.
I will say this, and Abby may have a different answer, so I'd like to throw back to her right after this, because from my standpoint, labels do not do artist development anymore. So that's it, because you're at a smaller label.
Yeah.
So yeah, but real artist development often comes from the management side. So you may not want to do A&R. You may want to go into management. So that's what I say. The industry is changing so rapidly, and it has been. It's just now we're really seeing how it's changing. And there are, to get what you want, and that's why I always kind of go back when somebody says they want to do A&R. I'm like, what do you really want to do? Because there may be multiple other roads to do exactly what you want to do, and A&R is only one path. And A&R is heartbreaking, by the way, because you will see so many in your career. You'll see so many artists who deserve to make it and deserve their shot, and something will happen and just derail it. And there's nothing you can do to change it or help it. I mean, the number of artists I've seen that I wish everybody knew of that are so much more than the number of artists that have actually made it. And the numbers of artists that have made it, I'm like, I mean, like I said, not going to name names, but there are quite a few out there that you're just like, oh my God, it infuriates me to listen to their music, because I know what happened to get them to where they were. And I know what they did. And I know, like, the lack of integrity or the horrible things they've done or the people they stepped on. And then you look at these other incredibly talented people that have just fallen by the wayside for something they had no control over. So it is a heartbreaking business. And, when you're in it long enough, you just kind of have to keep moving forward. But that's why I say, from your standpoint, you may want to consider management, not A&R.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Don't think that just being a songwriter is not enough. You get booked by A&Rs. We need more songwriters.
Thank you.
Chef's kisses. Awesome.
I really appreciate it.
Wow. Okay. So now it's nearing that time where we get to all vibe together. So also make sure everyone, Shaylin's been dropping in the chat the contact sheet. So if you want to connect with everyone, make sure you click on that link and fill out all that, okay? So without further ado, I'm gonna hand my mic over to Kyle. I know you guys are probably sick of listening to me, but he's gonna take over and do the listening session, all right?
Hello, everybody. I'm Kyle Leite. First of all, I just want to give it up for our amazing panelists, our awesome hosts. They dropped so much knowledge. I hope y'all wrote that down because it was really, really an awesome panel. So let's get into this listening session. Some of our artists sent over some stuff for us to listen to. We really love doing this. Give these artists some more exposure, put y'all onto some dope new artists. Get maybe some feedback from our panelists if they're cool with that. Get some feedback from everybody else in here to see where they can go with what they're putting out. And also just a great way to like lead into the weekend. Like who doesn't want to just like sit down, listen to new music, listen to new artists? Like, come on. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick and we're gonna be getting into some awesome new music. So this first one is Down South.
Oh God.
Lottie. No, I'm not gonna lie. I listened to this a little bit before and it was fucking fire. So let's get into this one.
Damn, Haven, you did this shit. Baby, you flying, you styling, you shining, you right when you riding with me. Bitches is wildin', they really be trying, they reaching and climbing, can never touch me. I'm a dime, they lose change, switch it up, I keep it straight. They straight trashing, I'm a star. The Ferrari is my stage. Ha! You know I'm coming up, you know I'm coming up. Better watch out, oh boy, I'm so divine. Can't get me off your mind. Up in the clouds, better not run your mouth. If you gon' run it up, run it down south. Run it down south. When I pull up on you, ain't it so good? When I pull up on you, put on a show, ooh. Riding round the town, my system loud, it just touched down. Another flight, another night, I make a toast, you know the vibe. You go slow, you take your time, you put your hands all on my thighs, you blow my back, you blow my mind. When I pull up, you know it's time. You know I'm coming up, you know I'm coming up. Better watch out, oh boy, I'm so divine. Can't get me off your mind.
Thanks for playing.
Fire. That was awesome. When's that dropping?
We're trying to figure it out. We were actually trying to shop that to a couple people, but I'm not sure what the next step of this one is.
That was awesome. I really love that. I love that beat. I mean, the lyrics, the voice, like everything was.
Are you the vocalist?
No, that's actually Brittany Crush. It's an independent artist I work with.
Oh, okay, cool.
Have you thought for stuff like this of kind of reaching out to like music supervisors?
Yes.
So I'm going to tell a story. I'm not going to tell who it was, and I'm sorry I keep doing that, but you know, there is an artist that is very, very, very popular. In the very beginning, they took a few songs and they basically reached out to ABC. They gave them the 3 songs because they had the rights to the publishing and they own the masters. And they said, you can use these songs for this period of time for anything you want, any campaign, any ads you're making for any of your shows, any of your shows. They gave them like a limited period of time. ABC used 2 of their songs for 2 different things, and that is what blew the artist up. The ability to, they gave it away for free, but it blew the artist up.
That's
so owning the master and the publishing for things gives you some freedom that when you're reaching out to music supervisors or whomever you send it to, they call it one stop. And you should consider doing stuff like that. When you have a song that's this good and this placeable, it'll give you an opportunity to possibly, springboard into something else. I would always say have more songs available so that if people go to look for you because of that, they can find something else. They don't have to just listen to that one song, but it's a nice thing when you have that ability, when you own your rights and stuff. So just throwing that out there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that advice. I appreciate it.
Awesome advice, and amazing song, really. So this next one just dropped yesterday by our very own Brianna Knight. So Deep. This one is also amazing. It's been on repeat since yesterday. So here we go. Can y'all hear that?
If I could just lay down, surround sound, but yeah, one day we could kick back and relax. I just wanna chill with you, drop down the car with a view, look at the sunset into picture perfect frame, stuck to you like glue, forever lasting like eternal magic. You got me so deep in my fantasy, you're addicted to me. A high with no ceiling. I want you all for me with no sharing. I've been bearing my heart for you. Holding me closely, sleeps for the weak. I feel it in my knees. I know matching vibes perfectly. When I speak, you understand me. No more Morse code. Read my mind like a genie. Oh my, grant me my wishes for life. Give it back in due time. Got me so deep in my fantasy. You're addicted to me. High with no ceiling. I want you all for me. I've been bearing my heart for you. Baby, you the star.
I really didn't want to cut that off. We got other ones to do, but like that, give it up for that. I mean, the voice, the vocals, the pen, insane.
Brianna, what a surprise your voice was. That was great. I was one of those where I was like, wait a minute. So good. Same advice. Think about the music supervisors. That's sort of a side door option.
Thank you.
Absolutely. This next one we have is called, my chat's blocking this, Forever Ain't Always by Jaquan McCoy. Steal Love by him also is fire. I've been listening to that a lot since it came out, but that's just a side note. So here we go. It's not playing right now. Let me refresh this real quick. So deep. All right.
Go Sound Radio.
She always got her guard up. She hide behind her makeup. She always hide behind her friends and opinions. These are things never mentioned. I know it feels like time is ticking on your expectations. But if it's real love, then there should be no expirations. Yeah, and I know that these days turn into nights that you wait for a phone call you don't get. You find a space to forgive me. And I know that you think damage is done, I won't change. But tell me, can you hear me? Tell me, can you tell? Forever and always don't last forever. I know that I fucked up, so we ain't together. I'm singing my song while you sleep alone. Oh, forever and always don't last forever. I've been singing my song.
crazy. There's so much talent coming in this week. I mean, those vocals again were amazing. Abby and Lynn, do you have anything you want to say about that? I mean, that was crazy.
So I'm actually so pleasantly surprised by the amount of talent in the room.
Oh, no,
Good voice. Sorry.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was it's remarkable to hear the amount of talent in this room. I usually come into these things and meh. Like you can tell people are trying really hard, but they're not at quite this level. Everybody here seems to be at that next level. And I hate to say it, but I keep going back to the initial advice. There's an opportunity when you own your own master, and you own your own publishing, and I don't like at telling people to give anything away for free. That's why I say make sure you give it a limited amount of time. But sometimes music supervisors or an opportunity to get something on a commercial or a TV show or whatever it may be, it's a nice springboard. Just make sure you have all of the backup that you need, that you're not just sending people to empty social pages and an empty Spotify account. Make sure you have more stuff. People get bored quickly. But yeah, if you're set up for that, I think so far for all three of what we've heard, and I suspect going forward, my advice would be the same.
Awesome.
Can everybody see my email just now, or did it just go to one person?
I did that before.
Yeah, I'm trying to put my email so everybody could send me music to my email. But I'm not sure if it just went to one person just now.
I think it may have just went to one person.
The
I don't think I can see it.
NRG, the Nura Goddess. All right, so how can I get it so everybody?
If you go to the little thing where it says like two, where it says two, click on the little down arrow and go to everybody. Yeah.
So everybody can send me music to this email right here.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. We love having a supportive group over here. We got this next one is Can't Do Without Love, Jackson artist. So let's go. Let's get.
If God is a woman, I ask her, what do women want, what they after? Every time I think I know a woman, I don't know a woman. Confused by a woman, been abused by a woman, accused of your abuse and not being there. Dang, woman, wave if your curves, but your words worth more. Women value is the word God made you. I'm faithful, only date you. Home run, I brave for you. Rush down the highway to save you. I see through the veil, hair curled over the hell. Marriage can't hide yourself. Break up, no makeup, make yourself. Love pampered pretty, the ugly truth take you down like a bully. Love only hurts if you wasn't in it fully. Alicia gave me keys to learn. I contemplate, was it love or lust that got me heartburn? Am I ready for love? Am I ready to love? It's like love. I think I'm ready for love. I think I'm ready to love. It's like love. Man, I don't want no love. I don't need no love. It's like love. We need love, one love, can't do without love. If God is a man, I ask him, why your woman so attractive? But the same beauty takes my freedom like taxes. Never think to respond, they reacting. A good man, cool until the fan breaks, can't ventilate.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I like that, beat, the beat drop right there.
You do poetry?
Yes, I'm a spoken word artist, guitarist.
Yeah. So when outside,
so I try to put that in.
Invite me to your poetry events.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Cool. That was dope.
Single is coming out later this month too, everyone. 326. So 326. This is an exclusive.
Keep an eye out for that. Definitely. That's awesome, man. Love to see that.
Do you also work with other artists?
I do. I develop artists. I am an artist, producer. I kind of do a lot of different
I'm more
things.
talking about for your lyrics, because there are so many artists that I know and have run across where I'm like, your lyric, I get it, the beat, the whole thing, but there's something missing in the connection, and your lyrics really sort of have that. I think you could you could really collaborate with a lot of people,
Definitely.
and
That's
some
the
who are
goal. And
already successful.
right. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm moving towards. So I appreciate that.
Awesome, awesome. This next one is Icarus by Elsie. We know anytime Elsie sends us something, it's gonna be fire. So let's get into this one.
I tried playing with fire. Going up in smoke, I felt so alive. We weren't meant to go higher, but I was down for the ride. Should've known by then we'd go too far. When we got too close, it fell apart. Jumping the gun, chasing the sun, crashed on the run. You got my head high, you had me from the start. I'll be your Icarus. Defeated by the odds, but we were like Greek gods. I'll be
Amazing, amazing. We always love
Good.
hearing everything from Elsie. Her voice is so incredible.
I like that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Do we have any points, piece of advice for this track for Elsie right now?
So my question for you, for what you're doing, and I just quick while we were on this, I was looking at your Spotify page. This seems like something that could easily get playlisted. Do you have any connections at, for submitting to Spotify playlists? And I haven't checked your socials yet to see, because the difference for a singer-songwriter type of artist is the connection that you're making and getting engagement and stuff. So I'm just wondering, because like I said, I didn't check your socials. I only just quickly checked Spotify, and I'm sort of wondering how you're doing with that. Are you working your socials? Are you connecting? Do you have engagement?
Yeah, it's a good question. So on the playlist side, I guess I don't have like the, Spotify editorial type connections, but I have gotten playlist placements before, but it's kind of like, I guess, smaller playlists. And then, yeah, in terms of, it's definitely something I can do a better job of in terms of my socials. So that's like definitely the next step, is just like getting all of that. But yeah, I've gotten to know a bunch of people through the years. I used to work in the music industry. And yeah, I think I'm just kind of figuring out how to like establish myself.
Okay. Have you checked so far? Have you done any work with So Far Sounds?
Yes, I actually have. Yeah.
Okay. When you do something, when you play, do you take tracks? What do you do? How do you perform out?
I usually do live when I perform, like
Okay.
guitar or piano. So it's
Now,
a little bit of a different
okay.
sound.
Then here's my really quick take on that. I worked with several artists who, at the point where they were trying to break, they had music that sounded, I don't want to say like this, but similar in that it had electronic components. And then when they played out, it was very acoustic. They failed completely because the audience that went to see them and heard acoustic music, when they went to listen to the music online, heard something with electronics. And the audience that enjoyed the electronic component online when they went to see them was getting the acoustic thing. Those are very different audiences. I will say find a way to, and whether it's taking loops or whatever it is, you need tracks, whatever, to help you incorporate more of that sound in your live performance so that the audience experience is similar for both of them, because you don't want two separate audiences being happy only in one place.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I also do have tracks that are acoustic. So I'll play those acoustically. And then for these types of songs, that's really good advice, because I've also played track at shows. At So Far, I'll do like a strip back, but when I do my live shows, the tracks are like a big part of that too. But that's really, really good to just like think about as well.
Awesome. Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you.
Thank you guys so much for all these pieces of advice. We have a few more tracks to get into. I know we don't have too much time, but definitely want to get to all these tracks because everything has been so amazing so far. So this one is Dean, Someday. Got a video coming out next Wednesday about him, shameless plug. So here is Someday.
Draw, quick to shoot. Standing 10 toes, and when I do, I don't salute. How y'all get 5 for murder, but we get 15 for illegal burner. I knew a young black boy, not much older than me, that fell victim to the system. City screaming, set them free. I'm questioning whether it's sympathy or empathy. Until I know it's real, I'll be begging on my knees. Someday, I pray for a better life. Someday, I pray that we see light. Someday, I pray that the people see us as equal. Someday, maybe one day. Shot dead in the streets, look how they did my homie. Tears running faster than he could, that's what they told me. They use reality as a form of hate. Use my skin as a canvas, watch them. Someday, I pray for a better life.
I hate to cut it off, but we do have other ones to get to. But I mean, I think that really speaks for itself. Abby, how are we feeling about Dean?
I really like that. The beat was good, everything.
Awesome.
I will go back and finish listening to it.
Definitely. I suggest everyone goes back and finish listening to all of these because these are all really, really amazing. So up next we have Ghetto Flower Freestyle by Manny Jr. So here we go for this one.
Sweetest rose from the Garden of Eden. Good them thorns be the best of your features. Beautiful black Mona Lisa. I always see your admiration is deep, though not as deep as your peace. Rooted in conscience along with your loving kindness, your highness. You're such a powerful piece. Plus you was molded in the image of Most High. That's no lie, only truth that I speak. If they don't see it, then that just means that you best fit for me. Cause picking Eden's rose was never the easy road. Not for the weak or a timid soul, but worth it though. So I always pick those over hoes. They want the gold, you worth your weight in it though. These stories told of that ghetto black rose that bloomed when it was cold but never froze. And Lord knows a sober soul that holds her own. She don't compete. She know the scriptures and the laws of the street. She practice peace but still at war for her king. She down to march with any man with a dream. And that's word to Coretta. Couldn't have it no better. Beautiful black queen, you everything we need you to be. She's a ghetto flower from the concrete, baby. Black rose, as bright as gold, yeah. Soul glows and only grows, yeah. Lord knows she's heaven molded. You taking bloom, brighten the mood, baby. Shine like the moon, the darkness you do, baby. Ghetto flower from the concrete, baby.
Vibes. That was awesome. Yeah, definitely give it up for that one. That was awesome.
Oh,
How were you feeling that?
I like that. That was dope.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Then how'd you like that one?
I love that one.
Yeah.
I really like that. That was great.
I'm glad. That's awesome. Yeah, that was amazing. Definitely check that out too. We're gonna have to put that into our Finesse Spotlight, playlist. So this next one is Smile, by Stoneham. So here we go.
I was singing, looking, hold you down. I was singing, looking, hold you down. Don't let nobody take your smile. 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 Smile like a child in the wild, so feel like a salad. I'll never go back.
Hold on, let me refresh the page. I think it just stopped loading. I'll go back to it.
Take your smile. Smile like a child in the wild, so feel like a salad. I'll never go out. Going up in the cloud, you will never fall down. Got a shot so loud that they got it in now. Gonna go all out, never in with the crowd. Take my throne in with this crown. Love myself more than I did now. Let me pour, gonna take that as a vow. Cause I had them days, not so bad days, up down days. Inside out and take a smile away like sunshine about to get shade. This I won't trade, it's on my no ego. Where I go up together we go. Hide my tears by smiling, we know. Load that we carry soon or be gone. Say, make you feel that, make you feel that. Cause I feel that, yeah, I feel that. Yeah, damn on the vein, I'm making my day. I know it every day won't be the same. I gotta just push and don't be afraid. Just make you smile no matter what it takes. Say, singing, looking, hold you down. Don't let nobody take your smile. 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 Singing, looking, hold you down. Oh, singing, looking, hold you down. Don't let nobody take your smile. Don't let nobody take your smile. Yeah.
Love that upbeat.
Outcast vibes.
Definitely.
That was different. I like that.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really awesome. I love like the message too with it too. That was like, I was really just like bopping with it. I was feeling good. Definitely starting off the weekend right.
That was a feel good song.
Definitely, yeah. You can also check out, before we go on to the next one, or before we also hear what Lynn has to think about this one. I do want to shout out our Slapper Saturday playlist on Finesse Media Spotify, because we have all the songs on Spotify. Go into that so you can listen to everything that you've been listening here on there at your disposal. We don't have to cut it off at 1:30.
Real quick, I just want to make sure y'all subscribe to that Slapper Saturday.
Like it.
If y'all loving it, you can hear all that on that playlist. You feel me? That's it though. Go ahead, get your thing on, Kyle.
Absolutely.
How many more songs do we have though?
We got 2 more songs.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. All right. This next one is Chris Carter, Beachfront. Let me refresh the page again. I think it's been waiting there for too long.
She don't like my attitude, baby, I'm my mother's son. I just dropped some heat, ooh, damn, I got another one. I just took an L, bounce back, I had to double up. Niggas like the beef, you should see the way I cut it up. Ooh, got us chillin' on the beachfront. Sister brought some friends, so you know I hate at least one. Chopper with the scope, the city dangerous, gotta keep one. Oh man, niggas gotta eat, huh?
I've been chillin' short side, shorty on the beachfront. Tell me what's the soul tie, I ain't tryna lease one. Cutting up, I think I got her on a leash, but I can never mind. I know these souls sneaking. Walk on the scene, I know I'm looking decent. Yes, I step out, but I am not precinct. It don't come with ease, depending on the season. My focus been on you, talking like it's recent. Hit reset, yeah.
she don't like my attitude, baby, I'm my mother's son. I just dropped some heat, ooh, damn, I got another one. I just took an L, bounce back, I had to double up. Niggas like the beef, you should see the way I cut it up. Ooh, got us chillin' on the beachfront. Sister brought some friends, so you know I hit at least one. Chopper with the scope, the city dangerous, gotta keep one. Oh man, niggas gotta eat, huh? Hopped out clean with the dirty, bring the mob side.
Definitely feeling that. That goes hard. Drops tonight, Chris?
Yeah, I'm dropping it today with the video at 2 p.m. It's
Awesome.
it's actually gonna premiere through Earmo.
Awesome, man.
So this is going to be a really crazy statement to make, but there is so much charm and charisma in your vocal on that it's really something. It really makes it stand out.
Thank you.
Definitely. So I just want to play one more before we go off. I know we're a little bit over time, but just one more before we send y'all off to have some great weekends. So this one is I'm a Waste by Kaylee Beto.
In this way from the start, I always break my heart. Now I found what I want, slowly gonna tear it apart. Counting all the ways I made myself feel blue, trying to imitate the image of you, wishing I would find something else better to do. What am I so afraid of? I know that I deserve love, but giving him an empty face, thinking that I'm a waste. You can't let me be. I just rather bleed blood.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, the vocals on that were crazy. The production is crazy. What do we think about that?
That was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is that one? I
Kaylee
keep
Beto.
scrolling through to see everybody's faces.
That's me.
Okay, that was great.
Thank you so much.
I keep trying to, like, as I'm listening, I'm trying to put faces with the music.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your amazing feedback. I mean, I love listening sessions. I think this was an awesome one. So much talent we have in this community, so much talent we had going on. Thank you everyone who submitted. Thank you to our amazing panelists. Yeah, let's give it up for them. Chef Kiss snaps. Yeah, that was awesome. So just before we go off, I wanted to mention a couple events that we got coming up. We got a music and mental health and wellness event tomorrow, or rather next week, Saturday. It's just going to be a discussion with the Music Business Association. It's going to be a panel. We're going to go into some breakout rooms and a little meditation at the end. It's going to be awesome. Hope to see you all there. Also, if you're not already a part of Finessed Media, if you're not a part of our community, join. What are you waiting for? Like, these panels are amazing. We have amazing panelists that come on, drop so many gems. It's really just come build, come network. We'd love to have you. And at that, thank you everyone for popping out. Thank you again to our panelists, and I hope you have amazing weekends.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
So much, Lynn and Abby.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lynn and Abby, so much for showing up today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.